High school athletes went 3 months without seeing their teammates or the field, but for one Auburn basketball player, his time away from the hardwood has spanned far beyond the COVID-19 pandemic.
Motivated. I'm real motivated. I got to come back stronger than I was before. That's all it is.
Every step on the way down and up.
The return of high school sports was a real motivator for all student athletes, but it's not the only factor pushing Rob Cheney. The Auburn junior missed all of this past season after tearing his ACL last summer, using the year to get better.
It was good in a way and it was bad in a way. You know, I wanted to get out there and play, but at the same time, I can look and see what I needed to work on to help the team out and help myself out too.
Cheney was expected to be a starter during his sophomore season after getting minutes as a freshman. Head coach Brian Ott believes he will be ready to lead the Knights.
He's an intelligent young man. He leads by example. He's not afraid to stand up for the right thing, and that's what we want in a leader.
I want to lead my team. I want to set a good example for them. If I set a good example for them, then we all going to come together and we going to do big things.
Cheney and his teammates are back training together for the first time since the pandemic halted sports back in March. And even though they may be a long way from tip-off, Cheney believes it's the effort in these off-season workouts that will set Auburn apart.
Even these workouts, you gotta be vocal, and then you got like when we doing the drills and stuff, you gotta go hard. Because if I go hard, they gonna go hard too. So hopefully these 2 weeks we can work hard at it. We need to get everybody here. We want to be a good team, make it downstate next year. That's the plan.
And while Auburn has seen some of its summer tournaments canceled, Ott says there is still hope to play an abbreviated East Summer League, but it all depends on the IHSA's guidelines in its Phase 2, which has yet to be announced. A winning atmosphere is what Guilford head coach Dan Cameron grew up in, learning from one of the best golf minds in the state line that has to offer. But now it's up to him to pass that knowledge on.
He's still hard to talk about, but I wouldn't be here without him.
You can hear it in Dan Cameron's voice just how much his father Mark means to him. The former Byron head coach lost a long battle with cancer 2 years ago, and now his son, the current Guilford head coach, is keeping his legacy alive.
A lot of his stuff are things I use now, and playing for him as a high schooler, where I really started to notice how good he was when I was a college player and kind of on my own, things he does at practice or did at practice.
Mark Cameron led the Tigers for 15 years, posting 0 losing seasons, 9 regional titles, 2 sectionals, and qualified for state 9 times, winning the 1A championship in 2007. Dan does not expect to catch him anytime soon.
We got a long ways to go. The thing that he did so well was the longevity. He built up those kids below, and they were able to be good for a long time.
One way Mark liked to build them up was through the short game, and that's exactly what Dan is teaching the Vikings.
These guys know a little bit about my dad, but that's been the huge part of it, is just chipping and putting. When you don't have your A game, you've got to have that crutch to lean on, and it's got to be chipping and putting.
I wish I could have 4 seasons with him, but 2 seasons has done a lot for me.
Connor Knuth has not had much time with Cameron, but his coach's lessons are definitely rubbing off. The senior finished 27th and 28th over the last 2 years at the Nick 10 tournament, but in 2020, he has shaved 2 strokes off of his average, and heading into conference this weekend, he owns the 3rd best score this season.
Instead of thinking, why is he telling me to do this? It's kind of just, he knows what he's talking about, so do it. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it messes with my game, but usually for the most part, I play a lot better when he's around.
If Knuth can stay in form and the rest of the Vikings can hit their chips and putts, Cameron may just take 1 step closer to his dad.
I have some big shoes to fill, but I want to try and get us back on top of the Nick 10. I think that's kind of an ultimate goal for these guys and for me.
And Cameron says his dad would never actually talk to him when he was a player because he was too nervous to do it. So he would have assistant Mike Johnson do it for him. Cameron says he will be picking Johnson's brain before they open up that Nick 10 tourney on Friday. You fall down and you pick yourself up. Harlem's Olivia Watton literally had to do that the last time bowling alleys were shut down because of COVID. The Huskies senior needed to get her legs back underneath her, and unfortunately, she will have to do it again. Only this time, she's ready.
It's not how I wanted my senior year to be, but it's how it has to be right now.
Olivia Watton wishes it does not have to be like this, but she understands why her bowling season is suspended. Even though alleys will be closed for the foreseeable future, the Harlem senior has a backup plan to stay in form.
I bowl in my basement. I set up something in my basement to just throw the ball, like do one steps and no steps, and that helps me out. It's definitely going to be weird because like my physical game is not going to be there, but I think getting back into it, we're going to be just fine. It's just going to take a little bit of practice.
Watton's perseverance through this pandemic is what makes her the leader of this year's Huskies. Head coach Jim Heathscott says she does not have to say a word because Watton leads by example.
She puts in the effort every day. She already knows what her plan is, and we're going to try to help her out with that as much as we can, but she's already got a plan, and we already knew that.
The senior wants a state championship badly, especially after back-to-back runner-up finishes. But Watton is not feeling bad for herself if this season does not materialize. She just wants others to have what she had.
I feel bad for the freshmen coming in right now because they deserve a season, and I wish that they got their first experience as a freshman like I did, coming into it having like this awesome fun. We could high five, bowl against different teams, but they just can't get it. So I think right now the big talk is, are we going to ever go back to normal?
Watton says the last time bowling alleys closed, it took her about a month or two to get back to normal. As for the state tournament, word is that it will be shortened from 2 days down to 1, and it will be moved from Cherry Bowl to a more centralized location, probably in the Peoria area. Confidence is not a certainty for all athletes. It's something that needs to be worked on. For Winnebago cross-country runner Natalia Martino, that confidence has been lacking, but it has not stopped her.
I never thought that I was that great of a runner.
That may sound crazy coming from an athlete like Natalia Martino, who has finished in the top 13 at state 3 times. But even after leading Winnebago to the 2019 state championship, the Indian senior says she just did not believe she could keep pace with other girls.
I thought it's like, oh, no college is going to look at me. That's D1. I just felt like compared to other runners, I just wasn't that spectacular. I'm still not the best runner. I will never be the best runner, but I can still work at it to become better.
Martino proved herself wrong, signing with Division I Portland State on Thursday. Head coach Joe Erb understands that there are so many good runners out there that it's easy for one to ask how they measure up. But he has the confidence that Martino will seek out any challenges in order to become better.
There's not days off. A day off is really, what can I do to get better? And that when that's your approach, and that is her approach, a day off is, I may have to do some cross training. I may have to do something that's going to make myself better. That was more about being mentally ready for the training probably than more physical.
Helping her figure out her true potential all along was her coaches and her teammates. Together they grew, won state, and competed through a pandemic. And Martino will never forget that.
They have definitely showed me what I'm capable of doing and what I can do in the future. It's been a rough road. It's a lot of hard work that's been put in, and they've definitely helped me achieve a lot of my goals, and they've helped push me along with the girls on the team, and without them I just wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Martino says location was the main reason for her choosing Portland State, and she hopes to be a doctor one day. I'm on board with her with location. Oregon, one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. Rockford has produced some incredible boxers over the last 40 years, but maybe none of them would have accomplished what they did without the help of one man, whose son is now carrying the torch for him.
If it wasn't for my dad, I don't believe there would be boxing in Rockford right now.
The last time Jimmy Goodman opened up a new gym for Patriots Boxing Club, his father Jimmy Sr. was by his side. But not this time. His dad passed away in October from kidney failure, and Goodman says this latest accomplishment would not be possible without him.
From when he had it back at his barn, he kept it alive. So Dad would never agree to that. Dad would just smile. But I believe my dad was like the backbone of Rockford boxing. He kept it alive.
Come underneath. Underneath.
Patriots Boxing Club has some humble beginnings. Long before the original gym was opened on 7th Street, Jimmy Sr. was training local athletes at their home. Goodman has fond memories of seeing his dad hard at work.
There wasn't a time when we come home when there wasn't guys training at the house, you know, because Dad allowed them to. And then from there, we opened the gym back up in 2003 when I came back from the military, and he gave me the reins and I took off running with it.
In memory of your dad, Jimmy?
Patriots Gateway Executive Director Michael Thomas surprised Goodman with this plaque for the new gym, honoring Jimmy Sr. But Goodman says that was never his father's style.
He never wanted any publicity or credit, you know, and he's a real humble guy. And I know he'd be smiling.
With Jimmy Sr. watching with a smile on his face, he's getting the credit he so rightly deserves. And so are all the volunteers who dedicate their time to Rockford's young athletes.
Coming from where we were in a barn to a little bitty garage, you understand, you know, the hard work has really paid off from the team that's helped put this club together.
Goodman says the last competition any of his boxers competed in was the National Silver Gloves back in February, but they hope to get the kids back in that gym as soon as possible. Michaela Schmelzer has always wanted to play professional soccer, but after the NCAA offered up one more year of eligibility to its athletes, that dream is being put on hold because the Harlem grad wants to play one more season of basketball.
I couldn't leave something that I know is good for something that I don't know what it's going to look like.
The unknown is a scary thought for Michaela Schmelzer. She knows her goal is to play professional soccer one day. She just does not know what that road will look like. But when gifted one more year of basketball at UW-Milwaukee, she did not want her future self to ask what if.
Obviously it's not easy, but it's just something I really enjoy. And it would be hard for me like years to come if I were to regret this decision, and so I couldn't pass it up.
The Harlem grad is benefiting from the added focus on her hoop season. Through 8 games, Schmelzer is averaging 2 more points per game than in her first 3 years with the Panthers. She definitely notices a difference.
In past years, in my head, I felt since I was missing out on all these hours, I just need to keep doing more. This year, it's just been nice because I've just done what I've had to do and what the team is doing.
Schmelzer is all about the team. Soccer remains in the back seat, but she will return to playing with her club in the spring and summer, in hopes that she will be in form come 2022.
For me, since there are so many unknowns, just doing as much as I can on my end to just kind of keep my foot on the ball, keep my conditioning up, and a lot of that will come in the spring and summer. Everything will fall into place. It's a lot about who you know and just me as a player, like what I can give and how hard I can work and improve my game.
Those people Schmelzer knows are past coaches who tell her there is a path to the pros. Whether that is overseas or with the NWSL, she says her time will come.
We'll kind of see what happens. I'm trying to focus on basketball, and I've had some talks here and there, but we'll really focus on it next year for sure.
And one thing that has eluded Schmelzer in her Milwaukee career is a Horizon League basketball championship. She did win 2 of those with the soccer team, both in 2018 and 2019. Despite being named All-Conference 3 times, Nick 10 MVP and All-State, Boylan grad Peyton Kennedy can never be too hard on herself. But it's something she says she's trying to work on as she adjusts to life as a Division I college athlete.
I have to realize that failures lead to success, and you learn from your mistakes.
Kennedy, it falls. First points is Milliken.
Peyton Kennedy has the talent to be successful with St. Louis University. But first, the Boylan grad believes she needs to get out of her own head.
I think that's something I have to get through my head to block out all the negative stuff going through my head, like the turnovers, wow, I shouldn't have probably shot that shot, or I should have passed the extra pass. I just have to learn from my mistakes and grow from it and move on from there.
3 on the way, Drano.
Kennedy is adjusting quickly to the fast-paced college game. The Rockford native scored 15 points with 9 rebounds in her debut against Memphis. However, she says she still has a lot to learn, especially at a new position on the floor.
You have to let the game come to you. So I think once I realized that, it got better. And I'm still learning when to shoot the 3, when to drive. Just decision making is where I have to improve on. And I think as the time goes, I'll get there and it will improve my game.
Back-to-back threes for the freshman.
The Billikens freshman likes a challenge. And the first month has been just that. After a delayed start to the season because of COVID-19, SLU is back in quarantine because of a positive test. That gives Kennedy some time to work on another aspect of her game.
I try to take my coach's advice and try not worry about the basketball part and just my conditioning part, because honestly that's all we can do right now. We've been playing basketball for years and it will come to us just like that when we get back. So I'm trying not to worry about much as the basketball part as I am the conditioning.
While Kennedy and the Billikens have seen 5 of their first 7 games get postponed, she remains optimistic and feels blessed just to be able to play once.
It's a dream come true, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else, and I'm so glad to have the opportunity to be able to do it.
And Kennedy is just one of a handful of former Nick 10 stars playing Division I right now. And on Wednesday and Thursday, we catch up with 2 more, Guilford's Kate Dennis and Hano's Jordan King.
And she looks like she has a bright future. I mean, scoring 15 in her
She
debut.
does already. Only
Yeah.
2 games.
Great start.
Everything is coming at Kate Dennis at 1,000,000 miles an hour with her quick transition from Guilford High School to college a few weeks ago. But she is taking it all in stride and not trying to do too much as she finds her spot on the Ohio University roster.
You know, my time will come, so I just want to be as prepared as I can.
This is not the role that Kate Dennis is used to. The Guilford grad has always been the #1 option, but in her first month at Ohio, she is part of the supporting cast, cheering on the Bobcats from the bench.
That part I don't really mind. Like, obviously I would love to be out there playing and stuff, but you know, getting that experience in practice and helping the team out as much as I can in any way that I can, that's good enough for me right now.
Since Dennis is not getting any minutes yet, those practices are crucial for her development. She says the physicality and speed of the college game will take some adjusting to.
It's a lot. It's a little bit overwhelming, but they're doing a good job, you know, helping explain things to me. It's just kind of a matter of time for me to learn it and understand it.
Dennis is leaning heavily on her new teammates and coaches, with whom she says she has all the trust in the world. But the Rockford native just needs their help to acclimate to the Ohio system, because the pure basketball skills are already there.
Being a really good shooter, you know, creating my own shot, getting up the floor, running, that's how I like to play. So that's kind of what they're hoping I bring to the table.
Dennis believes she is ready to make her D1 debut, but she's not really concerned about that at the moment. The sole thing she is focused on is helping Ohio win.
We'll see how it goes. I really don't know what to expect right now, and especially with everything going on, I'm just kind of taking it day by day and being grateful for everything that I have right now and that I've been given right now. So that's where I'm at.
Dennis says it's been a lot easier not having to deal with classes yet, since she has a few more weeks before the semester starts. The Bobcats return to action this Saturday when they visit Central Michigan. Jordan King was asked to do a lot her freshman season at Marquette, keeping the team calm and collected and moving the offense forward. But after an unconventional offseason, she's taking on a new role. Jordan King held her own as a starting freshman at Marquette, opening the door for a breakout sophomore season. And 7 games in, the Hononegah grad says she already notices a difference.
I see the game slowing down and I can see things happening easier than it looked last year. So I think just watching through film, I think one of the big things was taking advantage of opportunities my sophomore year that I maybe didn't my freshman year.
Basket, Jordan King. King is taking advantage of those opportunities. In the offseason, head coach Megan Duffy told the Rockton native she sees her as more of a scorer. And so far, King is fulfilling that role. But the Nick 10's all-time leading point getter says she does not feel the need to keep shooting if one of her teammates is feeling it.
I've had nights where I have had the 15 plus and, you know, one of our most recent games had, 8 assists. So I just think with the pieces that we have on our team, it's going to be, kind of who's having a night. I just think now for me, it's going to be adapting and, figuring out kind of what works for me on what given night.
King's confidence is building as she sees the trust between her and Duffy growing stronger. And it also helps to be in a position that she feels comfortable with.
I've been able to play a little more out on the wing, which obviously I played a lot throughout my high school career in AAU. But I just think that I'm getting put in different positions to where I have that ability to score more.
King believes she is ready to put her skills to the test with top 25 programs like UConn and DePaul, as long as she has her coaches and teammates by her side.
You know, there's the ups and downs of every game, every day, every practice. And I think there were a lot of things I had to learn. And I think just being able to be surrounded by people that are willing to help you in every way possible was really great for me.
King and the Golden Eagles return from winter break this Sunday to take on DePaul, which beat them in the Big East title game back in March.